From jaw-dropping Hail Mary passes to game-changing drives, Rodgers' career is a tapestry of triumphs where he absolutely demolished his opponents. And beware, these are not black and white. First up, he literally humiliated a team while being injured. Back in Week 1 of 2018, Aaron Rodgers pulled off something incredible. Battling a knee injury, he led an astounding 20-point comeback against the Bears, putting a damper on Khalil Mack's Bears debut. Let's break down Rodgers' performance. He completed 20 of 30 passes for 286 yards, notching 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions and an impressive 130.7 passer rating. Before the game, the Bears had nabbed Khalil Mack, an all-pro linebacker from the Raiders. Mack showcased his superstar potential by delivering a sack, a pick six, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. During the match, Rodgers sustained a knee injury and temporarily left the field in the first half, with the Packers trailing 10-0. Upon his return in the second half, the team was down 20-0, yet Rodgers orchestrated an incredible turnaround, throwing 3 consecutive touchdown passes, including the game-winning 75-yard catch-and-run touchdown to Cobb. But that wasn't the only historic moment of his career. There was also the Super Bowl 45. Aaron Rodgers led the Green Bay Packers to a triumphant 31-25 victory over the formidable Pittsburgh Steelers, who boasted the NFL's top defense, led by Defensive Player of the Year Troy Polamalu. He completed 24 of 39 passes for 304 yards, delivering 3 touchdowns without any interceptions, and earning an impressive 111.5 passer rating. Insane, right? You know what would be even more insane? Having you as a loyal subscriber, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all of the wildest NFL content. Back to the wild things. Facing off against the Steelers team with a renowned defense in Polamalu, who was at the peak of his career, Rodgers and his Packers had a tough challenge. The Steelers were eyeing their 3rd Super Bowl win in 6 years, but Rodgers had different plans. Throughout the game, Rodgers showcased his precision, threading passes just beyond the reach of Pittsburgh defenders. One standout moment was a 21-yard touchdown pass to Greg Jennings, placed perfectly between the Steelers' defenders. This victory wasn't just about beating the NFL's strongest defense, it was about bringing the Vince Lombardi trophy back to Green Bay. But even crazier than this was the time Rodgers destroyed Atlanta in January 2011. The Packers were up against the Falcons in this game and finally managed to get the upper hand, and let me tell you, there were so many awesome Aaron Rodgers moments to pick from. The guy threw 3 touchdowns and completed an insane 31 out of 36 passes. But my absolute favorite has to be right at the start of the 3rd quarter. The Packers are already up 28-14, and they just scored from returning an interception. But guess what? They're not done. They go on this killer drive, and Aaron Rodgers seals the deal with a touchdown run. Bam! Now, here's why this moment is gold. Even though the Packers were down by 14 points, the Falcons had a shot at turning things around. And they kinda tried, especially when John Abraham sacked Rodgers, but then Abraham copies Rodgers' famous championship belt move to mock him. Classic, right? But wait for it. Rodgers doesn't let that get to him. He leads the Packers down the field and boom, touchdown. And just to rub it in, he finishes off his run with a championship belt move. If Rodgers hadn't pulled off that drive, the Falcons would have snagged the momentum, but nope, Rodgers rocked it, and the Falcons, well, they were pretty much lost after that, never quite finding their groove again. Another time he made things horrible for Atlanta was in the 2010 NFC Divisional Playoffs with a score of Green Bay 48, Atlanta 21. In only his 3rd postseason start, Rodgers delivered a performance that will remain etched in history. He connected on an incredible 31 out of 36 passes for 366 yards, tossing 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions and securing a remarkable passer rating of 136.8. Rodgers not only established new Packer playoff records with 31 completions and an 86.1% completion rate, but also claimed the 2nd highest passing yardage in team history at 366 yards. Throughout the game, Rodgers orchestrated 10 possessions, leading the Green Bay offense to 6 touchdowns and 2 field goals. Remarkably, the Packers never even punted, showcasing Rodgers' exceptional command on the field. This game truly marked a standout moment in Rodgers' career, cementing his place as a postseason powerhouse. It was honestly embarrassing how he made Atlanta lose their confidence with all that power play. Talking about Aaron making teams lose their glory, in Week 5 of 2017, he etched his name in history with a game-changing drive. Down to 1 minute and 13 seconds, armed with only 1 timeout, he orchestrated a breathtaking drive that concluded with a 12-yard touchdown pass, securing a nail-biting 35-31 triumph over Dallas. So here's the lowdown. Rodgers completed 19 out of 29 passes, racking up a cool 221 yards through the air. But that's not all, folks. He rocked the field with an impressive 3 touchdowns, and guess what? Not a single interception to his name. That's what I call a clean game, and to top it all off, he snagged a stellar 122.9 passer rating. Talk about a quarterback on fire. And you know, those stats aren't all that surprising, considering how Rodgers has always had a knack for conquering the Dallas Cowboys, notching 8 wins in 10 starts, including the playoffs. However, this particular regular season drive is etched in memory, thanks in part to a viral Snapchat post turned meme. A loyal Green Bay fan demonstrated unwavering belief in Rodgers' clutch ability, and he delivered. The Cowboys had briefly seized the lead at 31-28, but Rodgers wasn't done. He completed crucial passes and maneuvered a critical 3rd and 8 scramble. The result, a flawless back shoulder fade to Davante Adams for the game-winning touchdown just 11 seconds from the end. But how can I talk about him and not mention his Hail Mary? Jumping back to the 2016 NFC wildcard round, Aaron Rodgers pulled off something iconic. In the midst of a 38-13 playoff victory against the New York Giants, he threw a jaw-dropping 42-yard Hail Mary touchdown right before halftime. Breaking down his stats, Rodgers completed 25 out of 40 passes for a whopping 362 yards, notching 4 touchdowns with 0 interceptions, earning him an outstanding 125.2 passer rating. Now, while a 38-13 win might not stand out entirely, there's one play that will forever be etched in football history. You can bet your boots that when Rodgers is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, they'll be showing this highlight. The Packers were leading a tight 7-6 game with just 6 seconds left in the first half. They were at the Giants' 42-yard line. Rodgers did what only he could do. Rolling out to the right, he took a couple of steps forward and launched the ball with precision, right into the sweet spot of wide receiver Randall Cobb's waiting hands in the middle of the end zone. Touchdown Green Bay. It was the first of 3 touchdowns Rodgers threw to Cobb that day. That Hail Mary play before halftime, that's the stuff that makes lasting memories. And just like that, here's another one of his crazy memories that made me lose my mind because it was so humiliating. Back in the 2015 NFC Divisional Round, Aaron Rodgers showcased pure magic. Despite a gut-wrenching 26-20 playoff loss to the Arizona Cardinals, Rodgers etched his name in history by completing not 1, but 2 unbelievable Hail Mary passes on a single drive. Rodgers was in the zone, completing the shocking 25 out of 40 passes. He carved up the field for a jaw-dropping 362 yards, and count 'em, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns, all without a single interception to mar the perfection. And just to add a little extra sparkle, he snagged an eye-popping 125.2 passer rating. Now that's what I call a quarterback putting on a show. Now rewind to a do-or-die moment, trailing 20-13 against the Cardinals and facing a daunting 4th and 20 on their own 4-yard line. The Packers were on the ropes, but Rodgers defied the odds. Evading Cardinals defenders, he flung a precise laser down the left sideline to Jeff Janis for an astounding 60-yard completion that shifted the game's momentum. Fast forward to just 5 seconds on the clock, and the Packers at the Cardinals' 41-yard line, lightning struck twice. Rodgers, with his trademark spin, launched another Hail Mary pass to Janis, resulting in a game-tying touchdown. This jaw-dropping display remains unprecedented in such a clutch situation. But that wasn't the only time he stunned us. November 9th, 2014 was another instance where Rodgers absolutely dominated the game and crushed his opponents. The scoreline said it all: Green Bay 55, Chicago 14. Rodgers put on a show that day, matching Oakland's Darryl LaMonica as one of the only 2 players in NFL history to throw 6 touchdown passes in a single half. You heard me? 6 touchdowns! And he achieved this feat in just 7 possessions in a mere 36 offensive plays. In that first half, Rodgers was nothing short of spectacular, completing a remarkable 18 out of 24 passes, racking up an astonishing 315 passing yards, and delivering 6 touchdown strikes. His quarterback rating of 156.3 was nearly flawless. The Packers had already built an imposing 42-0 lead by halftime, completely turning the oldest rivalry in the NFL into a one-sided spectacle. And you remember how I mentioned Oakland earlier? Well, they weren't safe from his wrath either. Back on October 20th, 2019, Rodgers and the Packers had a field day against the Raiders, sealing a solid 42-24 victory. Rodgers was in the zone, completing an impressive 25 out of 31 passes for a stunning 429 yards and 5 touchdowns. And get this, his passer rating was a flawless 158.3, the best you can possibly get. It was like he couldn't miss. Oh, and by the way, this was the first time he'd thrown 5 touchdowns since September 28th, 2015, when they took on Kansas City. But here's the kicker. This was the only game where he got a perfect passer rating. Even Raiders coach John Gruden had to give credit where it was due, saying he's one of the best of all time. He made a couple of great audibles, he made a couple of great throws, tough as hell. I mean, we hit him a few times and it didn't bother him one bit. This game was just another example of Rodgers' insane skill and his knack for making the hardest throws look like a walk in the park. And now, saving the best for last, the one where we felt he returned from the dead. Rodgers made a triumphant return after missing 7 games due to a broken collarbone. And he didn't just come back, he dragged the Packers right into the playoffs. In a high-stakes showdown against the odds, Rodgers pulled off a jaw-dropping 48-yard Hail Mary touchdown on 4th and 8 in a crucial game against the Chicago Bears. Let's dig into the details. Rodgers' stats for the game were solid, completing 25 of 39 passes for 318 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, giving him an 85.2 passer rating. This wasn't just any game, it was the regular season finale, essentially a playoff game for the Packers. With the NFC North title and their postseason fate hanging in the balance, Rodgers had the weight of the world on his shoulders. With just 46 seconds left on the clock and trailing 28-27, he faced a 4th and 8 situation just past midfield. Amidst a storm of Bears blitzers, including future Hall of Famer Julius Peppers, Rodgers rolled out to the left, evading the pressure, and delivered a pinpoint 48-yard touchdown pass to Randall Cobb with just 38 seconds left in the game. The catch? Rodgers had just returned from a broken collarbone, yet there he was, sealing the deal with a play that would go down in history. Talking about changing history, check out this video where we talk about NFL players that forced rule changes.